So we have recorded a transaction, and as a result of that, the account balances and the report must be impacted, right? So how to see that impact on our business reports? Well, first of all, there are some things that you can see straight on the dashboard. For example, here you can see the bank accounts and the balance for each bank account, including the cash in hand. I told you that in QuickBooks Online we consider cash in hand just as a bank. So you can see all of these balances are appearing here. And since my transaction also included receiving £12,000 from the owner, that balance has been impacted, and that you can see here. Other banks are unchanged at the moment. And if we scroll down, you can see there are some other things as well. I could have seen my expenses here, then I could have seen my invoices, my sales, and some other things here like account receivable and account payable. But since none of that has been impacted, I just received the money from the business owner, none of that has been impacted. All of those values are zero for now. By the way, you can customize the dashboard and you can make sure that you are seeing the things on the top that you want to by clicking here, but I will leave that for the later discussion. For now, we are going straight to the reports to see the impact of our transaction. Now, as we scroll here, you can see we have these three types of reports. Let us begin with the standard reports. And here in the standard reports, you can see you have a long list of reports. So literally QuickBooks Online has exceptional reporting available. You can see your data in so many different meaningful ways. But in accounting, there are two reports that are the most important. The first one is balance sheet and the second one is profit and loss. In the profit and loss, all the income and expenses are summarized and presented to you. I repeat, all the income and expenses. Now please keep in mind that in my transaction that I have just done, that I have just received money from the owner, neither there was an business income nor there was a business expense. So this report must be blank for now. So rather than clicking here, I will right click and I will say please open the link in the new tab. And now the second thing is balance sheet. Now the balance sheet summarizes all the assets, I mean everything that you own, the cash balances, the motor vehicles, the property, plant equipment, your investments, whatever you own, that will be presented here. But also on the other hand, all the obligations toward third parties like bank loans, like credit card loans, and even obligations towards the business owner. Yes, business is a separate legal entity. Even if you are a sole proprietor, that may not be separate legal, but for accounting purposes we will still treat that as a separate entity. And if the business is a separate entity from the owner itself, the money coming from the owner into the business is considered a kind of a loan. Not exactly a loan, so we keep it separate from the loans. We call it business capital from the owner or owner's capital. So let us open this report as well in the new tab. Now to see those other tabs here in my browser, first I will go full screen by pressing F11, and now we can navigate between the tabs. First, let us go to the profit and loss, and I told you that there is no income or expense in our transactions, so ideally this report should be blank because there is no other transaction for now anyway. But there are some other things that we need to notice when we are looking at a report. Here you can see the date range. This report is from the 1st of January to the 12th of April, so the date range is correct. To change this date range and to run the report from here, you can select from all of these options. I will be showing that to you later on when we will be using the reports multiple times. Then accounting method. Now this is the beauty about QuickBooks Online and even some other amazing software that are available in the market, that you can actually run the reports on accrual basis or cash basis on just a click. So we can change it to cash basis as well. And then there are many other options and filters that we can see here, but we will be looking at them later on as we have more data. Right now they will be quite irrelevant. But anyways, one last thing that I would quickly like to show you is you can click here and increase the size of the report on your screen so that you have more viewing place available. Now let's navigate to the balance sheet. This is the report that will be impacted with the transaction that we have recorded. First of all, you can see this report is this year to date. By the way, for the balance sheet, only the date is important. From is not important. As at April 12, for balance sheet, it is always from the beginning of the data. Don't worry about that point. You will understand that later on. Now let's get to this report, and to make it simple for a moment, let us only look at the line balances and not the totals. So here we have a line balance, cash in hand, £12,000, and we know that this is absolutely correct. This is what we have recorded. And if we scroll down, you will see another line balance here, that is ordinary share capital, £12,000, and that is also absolutely correct. So the first thing that we have to see in the balance sheet is our line totals. Then you may also like to see the subtotals. So here you can see the first subtotal is total for cash and bank in hand, that is 12,000, absolutely right. And then we have the net current assets. So what are net current assets? You must be thinking that this is just a total of net current assets. No, that is not the case. Net current assets is total current assets minus total current liabilities. I repeat, total current assets minus total current liabilities. Right now there is no current liability at all, so we are seeing this balance as 12,000 because 12,000 minus 0 is 12,000. And now as we scroll down, you can see again we have net current assets. In brackets they have written liabilities, which means that if the balance here is shown as a negative balance, that will be actually the liabilities. So net current assets again here are shown as £12,000, and then here they are presenting you total assets, which includes current as well as non-current minus current liabilities, that is again 12,000 because there is no other asset at all. Now I know that these subtotals are getting a little bit complicated here, so if you are not understanding them for now, please simply ignore them. They have just make it a little bit more complicated for the beginners. Don't worry about that. You will understand that later on very easily. Now scroll down, and here you can see total net assets, which is basically the total assets minus total liabilities. So my total assets are cash 12,000, and the total liability, well, there is no liability at all in my business. Whenever we use the term liability in business or accounting, we always mean liability toward third parties and not towards the business owner. Well, we know that the business owner is a separate entity, and money coming from the owner is also a kind of a liability thing, but it is not literally a liability. We will call that owner's equity or owner's capital. Liability will only mean liability towards third parties. So here you can see we do not have any liability toward third parties, so we will be calling our total net assets, which means total assets minus total liabilities, that is still 12,000. And you can see total capital and reserves is also 12,000. Now if you did not understand any of these terms like net assets, net current assets, I will be giving the definitions and calculations, the formula equation, in the next lecture to you in the written format for your quick review. But if you don't understand that, even then, please do not worry about that at all. These things will get very easy and simple for you later on as we proceed and do more and more things. For now, all we need to know is that our line balances are appearing correctly. Finally, let us take a look at this ribbon here. We can select the report period. There are so many options to choose from. We will talk about them later. We can alter our report from accrual to cash on just a click. We will talk about that later. We have some viewing options, and then we have some amazing filter and comparison options and some general options. We will see all of them later on. Now to begin with, we know how to see our transactions in the reports like profit and loss and balance sheet. That are the two most important reports. We will be exploring more and more reports later on as we have more and more data entered into the business. Now finally, before I wind up, let me show you how to work on full screen when we have multiple tabs. How we can navigate between the tabs? By using the mouse or by using Control Page Up, Page Down on your keyboard. But now as I press Control Page Down, you can see here nothing is happening. I'm pressing that Control Page Down, but nothing is happening. Ideally it should be working, but it is not working here in my case on my keyboard because I already have the FN key already pressed. So what do we do now? We have to do FN and then keep it pressed, press Control, keep it pressed, and then page down. And you can see I am able to scroll between the tabs. Now please note again, FN, keep it pressed, Control, keep it pressed, and page down, page up, page down, page up. And now let me go full screen. You know how to go full screen. We have to press F11 on our keyboard, and now FN key, keep it pressed, Control key, keep it pressed, page down, page down, page up, page up. So even when we are working on the full screen, we will be able to work easily between the tabs. I hope you have found it interesting.